Raise your hand if you had a locker in high school. Okay, we all did. Now, what was that device that you had that kept your locker secure? Yeah, it's a lock. For me, it was a 3-digit combination lock. And if you knew the combination to my locker, you would get to know a little bit about who I was, the high school student. For instance, you would know who I had a crush on, Janet Jackson, Halle Berry. You'd know what classes I was taking, math, science, English. And of course, you could tell what I was having for lunch. Peanut butter and jelly. That's right, that's the classics. Now, I'm no longer in high school, although I still have my youthful complexion. And because I'm no longer in high school, well, this world that I've lived in, well, that represents my locker. And my experiences, well, that's my combination lock. And I'll tell you about 3 experiences in my life that have led me to be the man that I am today. And those combination numbers are 20, 6, and 1. See, 20 was the first 20 years on this planet where I had a very low self-esteem. And that was predicated on the fact that I had a speech impediment known as stuttering. Now, how I like to explain this to people is, in my mind, I knew exactly what I wanted to say and how to say it. But unfortunately, that information highway from the brain to the tongue, well, it was kind of like rush hour traffic, a lot of stop and go. And that information for me was more stop than it was go. See, and there was a problem time when I was in grade 5 where I stood in front of the class because we had a speech presentation. And I, well, went ghost white. And that's kind of a miracle in itself for a Black man. But not only did I go ghost white, but my stuttering got worse because of the nervousness. And my throat got tight. And the words had a hard time getting out. And I remember looking at my classmates, looking at the audience and realizing what I'm trying to convey isn't landing. No one is understanding what I'm trying to say. And if people didn't understand what I had to say, they, kids start to look at each other and they start to smirk, and I got discouraged. And I said I was never going to speak in front of people again. That was it. Was there a time in your life when you thought that your weakness was bigger than it actually was? That you regressed into the shadows? Well, that's what I did. I regressed. I missed on networking opportunities and meeting new people because I was afraid of speaking, because I was afraid you wouldn't understand me. If you didn't understand me, you wouldn't want to be around me. That was my first 20 years. Number 6, combination number 2, was the 6 years in which I was I was a mentor for inner city kids. And if you know anything about inner city kids, especially junior high kids, if you're not connecting, they'll let you know. And if they don't like what you have to say, they'll let you know that too. So I had to work hard in trying to build a relationship. And I would always predicate my message by telling these kids I had a stuttering problem, so can you bear with me? Until one day, a couple of kids came up to me and said, Clem, we don't hear you stuttering. Why do you keep saying this? That's when the light clicked in. What I realized is I was magnifying my weakness. That what I thought was huge in people's minds was actually very small, if not non-existent. 20 years later, I wasn't sure if I even connected with those kids until they told me how when they went through university, every word and message that I had conveyed to them, when they needed it, it came back to their head. When they needed it the most, it came back to their heart. I realized that my words mattered. And that leads me to the 3rd combination, which is number 1. One life to live, ladies and gentlemen. You and I have one life to live. My question is to you is, what are you doing with that life? This is not a Super Mario video game in which you and I, if we were to die, we press reset and come back to life. That's not how it works. Everything we say, everything you do, the life you live has to count for something. It has to matter. You are not here by accident. There is a purpose and a plan to your life. The question is, what are you going to do with that life? I believe that there's a plan laid out from the time that I was knit in my mother's womb. I totally believe that it's meant for good and not evil, to hope in a future. I'm 100% sure that there's a purpose in why I exist. And I know that for fact. My existence is to help others, to inspire others, to impact people's life, to ignite them to being someone that they didn't think that they could be because of my experiences. What were some of your experiences that you're looking back, good, bad, or evil? It doesn't matter. It molded you into the person you are right now, and you can use those experiences to bless and help others. 26 and 1. It's a winning combination. And I ask you this question: what's your combination to your life right now? I will leave you with this quote that I love from Mark Twain. And it says, there are 2 great days in a man's life: the day he's born and the day he knows why. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all about purpose. I'm asking you, what's your purpose? And will you be able to use that today?